Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the professor, and this is the moment of truth.
India, you know I love you. I love you since the moment I met you. I'm meaning your music. So thank you for joining us. I think I think you have a very nuanced perspective about this, and I really respect it. You say that Joe Rogan has spurred this protest, but it's not actually about him. What's it about, ma'am?
I knew about Joe Rogan's insensitive comments around race before because I'm a podcast listener and I had heard many episodes of his podcast. When I learned of his language, I just tuned out on my own. There's been an ongoing argument and ongoing trials about how now with these digital streaming platforms, how these working artists are paid. And it's so low. And they say, like, it's just how it is. There's actually a trial coming up where there's still going to be ongoing trials about how to get this rate to be more fair for working musicians. Mm-hmm. And so there's that conversation. And then there's Spotify comes in and there's this big payment to this guy that a lot of people find offensive. It doesn't matter what his name is. There's a person here that a lot of people find offensive. And we also find our lack of pay offensive. And that creates a different conversation. Because I can tune out on Joe Rogan on my own. It's fine. I don't have to tell people that what I know. I just don't have to listen. But if you bring it into my world, now I have to say something. And also, like, I don't think that Joe Rogan is racist for using it. I think he's insensitive for using it. Yeah. So just don't. Well, you know?
A few moments later.
And so for me, when I think about, I want to be nice. I was going to say this name that I'm tired of saying. But for me, when I think about Joe Rogan, I think that he is being consciously racist.
Now, ordinarily, I might say something like, this started off as a principled stand, and it eventually devolved into a half-brained cash grab. But in the case of India Arie, it was a cash grab from the very beginning.
The subscription fees go somewhere. So you take this money that's generated over here and you use it to invest in this guy. Do what you want, but take me off. Or pay me too. And I don't just mean me, I mean us. Artists like me, pay us too.
India Arie is basically the urban version of a ditzy blonde. I mean, her hands are all over the place. Woman can barely form a coherent thought. But she does know enough to be able to say, I want more money. Now, that much she was able to figure out how to say. But as it stands, when it comes time to talk to white power, India Arie can't really form a coherent thought. Joe Rogan's a racist. Well, I don't think that he's really racist. He's consciously racist. And before that, it was she wants to tell the guys from Spotify why don't they pay her more money. She wants a bigger cut from the sale of each song that streams. But when the guys from Spotify call her, she doesn't really know what to say. This woman's all over the place. See, that's the problem when you got some bootlick, and yeah, I call her a freaking bootlick, ain't no other word for it. This woman was not interested in principle at all. That's why, although I used the video that she had posted online and told people where it came from, you didn't see me putting on the cape or saying, India Arie, she's just standing up for what's right. It's like, nah, this is the person who it came from, because whenever it comes to these black celebrities, they always break bad on us. It always goes like this. It reminds me of the whole Oscars so white thing. You had people like Jada Pinkett making complaints about why aren't there more black Oscar nominees and winners and etc. What they're really saying is they want more work. Can you guys give us another paycheck? We'll lay off of you if you give us some more money. That's the problem with these black celebrities. They're looking out for themselves. That's the reason why you had the A-dunce crowd, who were just too dense to figure out that Byron Allen was playing them for fools. But then again, that's what you do with a mark. You don't respect a mark, you use a mark, and that's exactly what those clowns let happen to themselves. And as soon as Byron Allen felt like he got his equity out of that particular operation, he moved on and dumped them where he found them. But this is why these black celebrities can be dangerous, especially when the white media decides they're going to put them in front of a camera. And India Arie, her brain was just going back and forth like a freaking sci-fi movie with the computer that's having a short circuit. She can't figure out what the heck she wants to say. She doesn't know whether to spit or go blind. Joe Rogan was a racist before he is again. It's about making sure she gets more money right before everyone should get more money, and it's about respect. You see, this is the danger of having individuals who are used to having all of these advisors and these hangers-on and people from the dominant society who are in their circle. And as soon as they get their noses bent out of joint about something, usually some white supremacist bigot says something and this person feels some kind of way about it, they're trying to vent their little feelings about what is clearly racist, but at the same time, they're also thinking about, but what are all of these white people that I got in my circle going to think about it if I call out white supremacy and they're doing the same kind of things? And the white media will take an empty-headed ditz like India Ari, take one of these chowder heads, and try to hold her up as a shining example of, well, you know, black folks don't really know what they want when it comes to racism. Why? Look at India Ari. And they'll give her phony praise and pretend as if she's something great, when the truth of the matter is they fully recognize that her brains are like scrambled eggs and that this woman doesn't have the sense that God gave a dog. They also know that when it comes to these black celebrities, they've had years to get their hooks into these fools. Oh, hell, you ain't even got to get your hooks into them. These guys are coming up to the white media with their noses wide open. They're ripe for a fall from the jump. They're just looking for somebody to put them on the payroll, and as soon as they get themselves a contract, they go, oh, I thought I was going to get caked off big. No, white supremacy doesn't believe in doing that. I mean, just the bootlick splaining was out of control. I don't think being a racist makes you a bad person necessarily. It makes you a person who was raised in our society. Being a racist is the very definition of a bad person. And then she's saying, I don't think he fully understands what he did. Make up your freaking mind, you idiot. Either he's consciously racist or he didn't fully understand what he did. You can't have it both ways. But that's exactly what she's trying to do. I don't know if she was smoking too much of the wacky tobacco or what have you, but this woman, for God's sake, she ain't got the sense that God gave a half-eaten cantaloupe. And if you saw the interview with Trevor Noah that she had, here this guy is, the tragic mulatto, the tragic immigrant mulatto, and here he is talking about all sorts of, well, there's classifications of racist, you know, and not everybody is just irredeemable. Some people are just... He was basically speaking in so much gibberish, trying to give a pass to people. Yeah, there are times when it's not give me a break. They're giving all of these mixed signals, which is exactly the point. Muddy the waters and try to leave us with status quo ante, which is, well, these white supremacists running around using the N-word, and not to mention there wasn't much said at all about the whole Planet of the Apes thing. Interesting how people keep consistently overlooking that. And it becomes about a pointless, rhetorical dog chasing its own tail circle about the N-word to N or not to N. That is the question. And the end result is Rogan's racism is treated as some sort of isolated incident. Or maybe this is just a guy who got a little bit too comfortable, a little bit fast and loose with one word. When Rogan has a long-standing track record of anti-black racism. The N-word is the least of his racist sins against black people. That's the least of his offenses. But this is why we can't call ourselves chasing up behind these black celebrities for any reason. Because they're not on the same mission as we are. They don't move the way that we do. When black celebrities talk about black people, or in the case of India Ari, black artists, they're not talking about the masses of us. Sure, that's what the white media and the public will believe. That's what they think it means, but whenever these clowns say black, they're talking about themselves. That's how these black celebrities are. They're completely and thoroughly self-interested. You go back and watch the videos that I've done regarding any black celebrity, and one of the things that you'll find is I give at least a few mentions where I'll point out, hey, I'm not giving an endorsement of such and so. And that I always make sure to drop that in there. Hey, we're not sanctioning what these people have done in the past or what they're doing in the future. If I happen to say that somebody actually said something halfway sensible, that doesn't mean that we're a fan or that we're looking for this person's support. Because I understand how these black celebrities move. So India Ari's little Instagram temper tantrum, from the very beginning she made it clear this is about money for her. How come Joe Rogan's getting paid like that? Well, you want to know why? It's because you got some people who a long time ago sold their souls to the devil, and apparently they thought to themselves that being on an album cover was the end all and be all, and they've been craving white approval and attention ever since, and that's the reason why. The white media accurately identified you as a mark, India Ari, and they were right. I think that Joe Rogan is consciously racist. No kidding. How many years did it take you to figure that one out? Got a news flash for you, India Ari. The record label that you work for, Universal or whomever, they're a bunch of racists too, as are the guys who own Spotify. And I don't think that this was some sort of revelation for you. No, these guys are just fine with the racism. They're just fine with the Joe Rogans and the Spotifys and the others, as long as they think that they're getting their equity out of the game, as long as they think that they're getting what they came there for. But inevitably, it eventually dawns on them after a very, very, very long time. It dawns on them that no, you're not getting any money. In fact, you're not even getting respect. And truth be told, if you got people who are shortchanging you on the money, that is the most fundamental form of disrespect. But for some folks, just to be part of the cheese and croissant circuit, just to know that they're going to have Entertainment Tonight or Variety or some other white media organization talk about them like they're a somebody, that means everything to them. Why, they'll overlook any insult, any slight. That doesn't bother them. Until they look around and they see that the guy who likes to throw around the N-word every chance he gets and likes comparing black people to apes, they see how he's getting paid, then all of a sudden it's not indignation but envy that got India Ari to do what she's done. And when it comes time for her to stand on principle, she's all over the map. There's no way that you're going to be able to fight white supremacy when you're also trying to stay on the good side of the white supremacists. This is no power move that India Ari is doing. It's a cry for help. Well, there's no help coming. Notice that of all the griping and whining and complaining she was doing, nowhere in there did India Ari say anything about, you know what, maybe we need to disengage from this evil white corporate system that has been screwing us over for the longest time and is never going to do right by us. We need our own. No, that never comes up for the bootlick. It's always a matter of how do we reform these white supremacists? How do we change them? I want to believe that these white supremacists, that there's some good in them, some redemption in them. Yeah, because the dream of being close to white mommy and white daddy is so crucial, so dear to some of these bootlicks. Why? They simply can't imagine their existence without the white supremacists. How do you stop people from being racist when you are literally saying you don't think they're racist or they're not consciously racist? Well, before they are, that doesn't work. How are you going to bring down white supremacy when you're doing everything you can to hold on to it? For India Ari, this is a real dilemma. She's not sure what to make of this. Why, she's confused. She's stuck on the horns of a dilemma. Well, it's one that she decided that she would gore herself on. Perhaps she thinks to herself that by doing this, she would raise her profile and somehow this is going to help her. It never works out that way. She doesn't have an infrastructure in place. And on top of that, her popularity ain't that great. It just isn't. And the very white media companies that she's attempting to try to shame into civilized behavior, or she's attempting to try to get some pity money from them, they could care less about her feelings. Sending her out the door with hurt feelings, to them, they get off on that stuff. They enjoy that stuff. These guys, these white supremacists who run these media companies, they absolutely revel in screwing people over. To them, that's the main perk of the job. It's great to see people who you're getting over on them. To them, they just get a kinky thrill out of that. And the more she complains, the more they lick their chops and say, good, now we know what we did hurt you. Oh, it humiliated you. Yeah, we took the money that you generated for us and we gave it to the biggest, loudest, ugliest racist that we could find. Moral of this story, kids, is that you can't beg your way to power. That's what India Ari and these other bootlicks, they're never going to figure that out. They were begging for a contract, begging for an agent, begging for representation, begging for their first gig, begging to try to get their next gig, and they're still begging today. And as far as India Ari taking her music off of Spotify, that's not going to mean anything. It's not like there's going to be a groundswell behind her. She's not a leader. And given all of the gibberish and the two-faced, fork-tongued platitudes that she's been spewing, all of this verbal vomit, she's given nobody anything to follow, even if she was of substance, and she's not. But what she's going to find out pretty quick happens to be that these white media companies, they're betting on a few of these disaffected Negroes to walk off in a huff. They plan for that. It's only going to be a matter of time before they come crawling back. They always do. White supremacy was engineered from the jump to be a zero-sum game. And the bootlicks, when they get to the end of it, they find out the hard way that they will always be left without a chair when their music stops. Good day, and be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors. Dondi Waddell, David Green, Alice Ransom, Tori Ellis, and Reasonable Dude. Salute to them and thank you to everyone for listening, liking, and sharing this message. Black empowerment only exists because of you.